I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
We gotta know how many wieners are going down these dudes' throats.
I'm gonna go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! I'm back! Finally back to talk the greatest of all time fought, and I'm back to talk about it. I'm joined by the Sodsman, by the Canadian teenager. We'll start with Wes. It's got to be like 1,000 degrees down in Kentucky. There's a NASCAR race tomorrow. How's everything going?
Going good, man. Yeah, it's warm around here. Not.
You see that news show? He talks about that being warm. For you guys, that'd be like an all-time record. He's saying it's warm.
I mean, well, people see the temp here, and they don't understand, man, because it gets like 90-100% humidity here and a 75 dew point. So like 90 literally feels like 105, 110 and shit. It's ridiculous, man. I really don't know how I did it a decade ago when I used to hump out in this shit for 12 hours a day. I have no clue how I survived, but I'm a puss now. I go out in this shit for about an hour now. I'm like, I got to get back in the truck. I got to hit the AC. But yeah, man, NASCAR's in town up the road, and got the Forecastle Festival in town this weekend on the waterfront. Sucks I didn't go. Almost the Killers are headlining tonight, and I wanted to see them live forever. And it's just, man, I can't imagine being around 20,000 people in this kind of heat. So I passed, and I'm here with you, jabroni. So ready to talk some fights, man.
All right, Wes. I'll give you 10 seconds. Give me one driver tomorrow. This weekend's nighttime race. Who wins?
Kyle Busch.
Okay.
Should get a decent price on. I play plus.
What about
550.
Brad Keselowski?
The Fords in one lap speed for like qualifying and stuff, the Fords have looked very good. Suarez, Kez, a couple other guys, but Kyle Busch has been the best in 5, 10, and 15 lap average in both practices. So Kyle Busch is great here. I got plus 550. He went down to, I believe, 4-1, but he qualified in like 10th. And qualifying for some reason for the Mooks, where people qualify, literally makes their bets. They like swing odds crazily.
Sure,
if Kyle would have qualified on the pole or first or second, he'd have probably been
plus 275.
He'd have been plus 250 tomorrow. Now that he qualified 10th, which really makes no bit of difference with Kyle Busch, you'll probably see the plus 500 again. And yeah, if I had to take one guy, it's Kyle Busch for sure.
Yeah, especially since you have 3 stages and they're guaranteed to restart twice.
Yeah, to
never
catch
mind
that.
any other accidents. I mean,
and go back to those.
This isn't Formula One here. I mean,
yeah, and go back to the lap averages. I mean, one lap speed is way different. You got to look down and see 5, 10, and 15 lap averages. And what I also like to look at is where that 10 lap best average occurred. I like to look more instead of like lap 1 through 10. If it occurs like lap 25 through 35, I like that. That's a whole lot better because that means in the middle of a run they're going to be the fastest car on the track where everybody else is slowest, and they're going to be passing cars. So Kyle Busch is going to be right there tomorrow.
That felt like longer than 10 seconds, but what do I know?
we talked. Wait a second. There's odds. Well, okay, we're going to talk about this in a minute, too. We'll add that in. New Sean, how are you?
Pretty good. Finally got a day of summer. You know, yesterday and today it was actually decent weather and wasn't pissing rain. So, yeah, it only took to fucking July.
That's short and sweet. So I'm going to start with this. We'll get to the goods from last week in a bit. So I'm looking at this. I don't know who set these lines. So there's a future of is there actually steam for a Masvidal McGregor fight? And Masvidal's a minus 160 favorite. Is that true?
Masvidal just came out and said he would beat
Yeah.
McGregor's ass. So then
of course they
Bet
put
Online
odds
throws out a fucking line on it.
Do you like the line?
I mean, I'll fade.
This
Conor.
is a 5-round fight that's a little more interesting. A 3-round fight, I think McGregor is a favorite.
I tell you, y'all know how I feel about Connor. I think Connor catches him. We forget that.
We've never seen Masvidal KO though.
He gets dropped, but he doesn't get KO'd.
He's been dropped so many times though, man. Like he's gotten way better.
He was dropped by what's his name? Who's the Russian guy that dropped him? Hobeloff?
Yeah, I mean Masvidal's improved a ton, man. He's gotten better and better, but man, I'm telling you, he's been dropped. Connor's got that power, man. And people forget about that, dude. I
also think at this point, if you got to look at fading Connor regardless if it's close to even money because of what if his lifestyle.
The one thing I'll say to you is that Connor's taking such little damage in his career because he doesn't fight that often.
Yep. No, that's totally fair. But
he quits.
Just the problem with that is he's just not fighting.
Submission quit. He's not a striker quit. He's submission quit.
Yeah. But he's just not fighting, man. So, am I going to take a guy that's just been doing unreal things lately and fighting every 3 months against McGregor in a straight striking match? I mean, I'll probably take Masvidal. It's never going to happen, but whatever.
So which fight would you prefer? Like at this point, I feel like the two best fights to make for Conor would be Masvidal or Cerrone, right? Like, is there like something else that would make more sense?
No, it's Diaz trilogy.
Yeah, that's the fight.
You really feel like that's going to happen though? Like,
I think if Diaz beats Pettis, that's what they'll do.
That's going to be the fight.
When is that? When is that scheduled now?
It's the one is in August. It's the one. It's 241 in Anaheim. I think it's in August. It's the August pay-per-view.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that card. Who the hell's on that?
It's Cormier versus Stipe and YOLO versus Lil Drunk.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you was right.
Yeah, that's...
And a Sunsao versus Sandhagen. Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, there's some good fights on that card.
Manny Bermudez versus Casey Kenny. That's all right. Sodiq Youssef versus Gabriel Benitez. There's some. It's fun.
There's some violence
Brunson
on that card.
Versus Heinich. That's not violent, but okay. Oh, those three. Oh yeah. I'm still convinced this YOLO versus Paulo Costa fight.
Just never
little drunk fight. Yeah, it's basically the Habib versus Ferguson thing. It's never happening.
Feels that way.
I don't think we're worthy of it.
It's too much.
I mean, do you feel that we're worthy of that? Like we as fans of the sport are worthy of a fight like that?
It's too much meat. Can't handle it.
Yeah, it's very, very heavy meat. Very, very girthy. Especially on the Brazilian. Well, both. Well, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Yeah, like a kind of like a right, exactly, like kind of like a half arm, like a half man.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's probably true. So we had this was a pretty good pay-per-view card, wasn't it? Last week we had a full-on pay-per-view. No titles changed hands, although apparently some people believe one of the titles should have changed hands. But we'll talk about it. Early prelims saw Julia Avila in her debut beat Pani Kyanzad, who I think is one of the most overrated fighters in women's MMA. Unanimous decision, even 230-26s. Chance for Countre got he was the biggest underdog winner on the card in a surprise victory. 130-27, and whatever. There's a couple other scores. And then good old Edmund never subs a guy in his career, drops Marshman, and then ground and pound, and then subs him for no reason. He could have just KO'd him, but I guess he'll get a sub. That was something. Edmund congratulating Edmund undefeated. Is there something with Edmund? Like, could he be something in this division?
Yeah.
Wes, I'll let you talk about those three fights to start.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Alvia because, like you said, man.
I don't
yeah,
even remember I don't even remember the fight, and I watched it. I candidly don't remember what happened.
I watched it on my phone. I was at the
Like I just forgot about it.
yeah, same dude. It just she won handedly from what I can remember. Yeah, a nice little chance encounter for plus 425. That was really nice. Helped me on the card because I was
He's
a
a
little
decent
off.
little grappler, isn't he?
I mean, it's it
Grapple?
you that's good fight IQ, man. That's what
Sure,
you want.
that's
That's
fair.
what you want your money on, dude. He knows his limitations. You know what I'm saying? And he played to his strengths perfectly, man. It's who gives a fuck what Dana says? You know what I'm saying? Shoot, take that shit to
Fuck
the
yeah.
ground, man. And yeah, dude, Edmund might be good, man. I got to see a little more, but Marshman's a tough fucking guy, man. I actually threw a small little bet on Marshman just for some action because I thought the line was just crazy. But
Man, but he got smoked.
yeah, that's a good win, dude. Because I think Marshman's a tough guy. That's why I put a little bet on him, man. I think Edmund can be pretty good. I think he's like 22 or something. He's like really really young. So
He's very
Yeah.
young.
I don't know about that coaching though.
Edmund is
Like,
actually
it's-
20. Edmund is 21 and a half. He
it's
turns
crazy.
22 in November of 97. Can you believe that?
I think just like a lot of foreign guys or something though, he's got to get to a better gym to realize his.
He's 3-0 in the UFC, a split decision over Darren Stewart. He's very lucky to on that fight. He destroyed Charles Byrd and he beat Jack Marshman. I mean, neither of those guys are great, but
But that's
I mean,
proper.
They're not terrible either.
if we're looking at young guys with limited experience, he's already far surpassed a guy like Sage Northcutt.
Oh yeah, as far like those guys ain't great, but the guys you mentioned aren't like total scrubs. That
They're not
some
good,
of these,
though.
but
They're
I mean
not
those
even,
are
they're not even middle.
No, but I mean that's
Marshman
that's who a
impressed me.
21-year-old prospect should be fighting if he's actually in the UFC.
Okay.
The Marshman win was a good win, all things considered.
Just the way he did it.
Yes, exactly. All
I
things
mean,
considered.
steamrolling a guy that's super tough it's still impressive, even if he is a shitty guy. He's been shown to be very durable, and he was able to take him out in just over a minute. It's kind of what he's supposed to do.
Rep by Rhonda and Edmund though is not. You got to change that kid. You got to change that as fast as possible.
I feel like he's gonna go down the same train and just stick with him no matter what. It's gonna.
Yeah, because he's like
poorly.
he's like Armenian too, with Ed the other head movement Edmund is too. So he's probably going to be one of those loyal cats that stays with him no matter what. And who knows? Maybe he's like Connor with fucking dumb shit. Oh boy, and he's just so good that it doesn't matter. Maybe he's that good. We'll see. I don't know about all that. I don't think once he gets to the upper echelon of this division, if he gets there, that Edmund's just not the guy, man. That dude he fucking sucks, man.
Well, that Edmund sucks. This Edmund does not suck.
True.
So let's move on to the televised portion of the card, and this ended up being pretty good. China Goat
Down.
KO round
Yes.
one. We'll split these. We'll split this 4-card preliminary into 2. So you had China Goat Yudong Song winning by KO in the first round over Alejandro Perez, landing a beautiful right hand, and then you had Claudia Gadella, fan of the friend of the mma-analysis, claiming she is a new fighter and fighting differently, and ended up winning one of the most boring 30-27 decisions perhaps in the history of MMA. Wes, I'll again start with you. Thoughts on these two fights?
Yeah, Yadong might just be the China Goat. You might be right about that. That I mean, to have power like that at 135, man, it's just
It's too bad he's with alpha male.
yeah,
Doesn't
that's
matter, does it? He's doing well.
that's still the
He might
worry.
be Alpha Goat.
Yeah, he could be. That guy's intriguing, man. You're not seeing a lot of guys from that part of the world that's getting up to this level. So yeah, he's intriguing. And I mean,
he's 21, by the way.
Yeah, he's a very young guy.
He's younger than Edmund.
And he's getting some wins like this win. Alejandro Perez as kind of middle of the road as he is, dude's a tough out. And I mean, he smoked him. That's what he's supposed to do to these guys. Claudia, she wasn't lying, I guess, because she did look sort of fresher in the third in a kind of tougher grappling kind of fight. But my God, that was maybe one of the worst fights I've ever watched, man. And you're going 3-round decisions like that with Randa Marcos. I mean, her time is way past, dude. Like way past. Not sure what you do. I guess she's still kind of got that name. Maybe put her on some more Brazilian cards, but who knows, man? When you're in tough like that with Randa Marcos, man, and your only thing saying after is, I love this, and I didn't gas like all y'all said I was going to. That's not a good sign. You know what I'm saying? If that's your one fucking thing, you say, I didn't gas like you fuckers thought I would. She's not up in that upper echelon, I don't think, anymore, man.
Okay, Nushan.
I was on Marcos. That is just fucking poor fight IQ and game planning. Like, what are you doing? You're just gonna have a fucking striking contest with Gadelia for most of the fight? Like, the key to fighting Gadelia is to just grind on her.
Make her work.
Make her work so she's tired. She did none of that. They just had like a dumb sparring session for most of the fight. How are you gonna tire her out doing that? And when your striking isn't that good either, like, doesn't make sense. So that was just terrible on Marcos. At least half of it won, and then it lost later on in the card. But I had go to decision, and that was never in doubt. So what's new? Women's strawweight goes to decision.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing to say there. Claudia's, nothing to say. Marlon Vera struggles with Nolan Hernandez, but then he decides, you know what, I'm going to fight, and 10 seconds later he wins. That was awesome. And then I'll say this might have been it was borderline the most impressive, well, I shouldn't say, it was the most impressive performance on the prelims to me. Arnold Allen he looked awesome. Masterclass performance against Gilbert Melendez. Very impressed. Wes, give me your thoughts. Arnold Allen, especially. How far can he go in this division? Nushan, you start up right after Wes. I'll be back in a minute.
I mean, I'll just say about Vera, that guy's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? He did get in tough there for a little bit, but he turned it on and finished a guy he really should have finished. But
late notice fights against unknown guys that come in. It's a crapshoot. So I mean, that shit can happen even against some better guys.
Yeah, and I do think Marlon Vera is pretty good, man. He's one of those guys from South America, kind of Mexico, that's actually gotten pretty damn good. Arnold Allen, man, I were seeing some people saying that they weren't completely sold on Arnold Allen, and if you felt that way before the Gilbert Melendez fight, I'm not sure you would probably change your mind completely after that. It is a pretty washed Gilbert Melendez, but I mean, Gil's always been a tough out, man, and that was definitely an impressive performance, regardless of who it was against. And I mean, Allen's just got skills, man, that a lot of those Brits don't have, man. I mean, he's got some legit offensive wrestling and stuff like that, man. You don't see that a lot. His hands are looking like they're improving as well, but I will say it's against the ghost of Gilbert Melendez, man. I don't get why that guy's still doing this, man. He's pretty much got to deal with ESPN. He does a lot of stuff on there now. He's got to be making some decent money. I'm pretty sure I read his gym has gotten pretty big out in California too. So he doesn't have to be doing this, man. I really don't get it. But I've liked Arnold Allen for a couple years now, and I'm intrigued that 145, man. All those weight classes down there, just They're great, and apparently now Dana White's not doing away with the 125ers or whatever. He's signing some guys now. So
Wait a second.
yeah,
What
who
guys is he signing?
Re-signed Moreno, and he signed Askarov, which is the Russian flyweight.
Yeah.
That's undefeated.
I don't even remember those guys.
But they're not doing away with it now. Apparently, I think that's what Aaron was saying. So we'll see, man. But those lower weight classes, man, they just continue to produce some of the best fighters in the sport, man.
Yeah, we talked about this the Allen Melendez matchup, and it just didn't make sense to us on last week's fight card. I don't know what Melendez is doing. He should hang him up and just do his ESPN thing, because this is not a good game to be just dipping your toe in at the end of your career. Allen's hands looked really good. He's with a good team. I think, top 5, top 10, that area is kind of the look for him. I think that's going to be where he gets to. And he's still fairly young, so he can still keep on getting better. And yeah, I thought he looked really good. I was hoping he would get a finish. I think Brad tipped us off to a pretty ridiculous line on him in round 3. I was hoping that he could break down Melendez a bit more, but I guess he just took the decision. Melendez is still tough as hell, even at his old age, so what can you do?
Main card, woof, this wasn't good.
Ugh.
Oh, God.
Diego Sanchez. I mean, he couldn't, man. Oh, I don't know what to even say. 30-26 across the board. Michael Chiesa won. Diego, he certainly knows how to defend the submission, but he
does. Yes, he does. I'll give him that. Still, I knew Chiesa was going to be big here, but man, he was massive compared to Diego.
That's a real welterweight now versus a lightweight.
I think we've seen it over and over, man. This is going to be the best thing to ever happen to Michael Chiesa. Like, that dude looked like a legit 170 now, and his skills on the mat are just insane, dude. Diego surviving some of the shit he survived, though, man. I mean, that dude took like some 40, 50 unanswered shots at times, dude. The subs he was fighting off, and yeah, we'll talk about the next fight, but it's crazy to watch to just how fighting is, man, to where one dude can be a mush brain fuck like Diego and literally take 50 blows, and a guy in the next fight can't even take a shot one, and he's just completely done. Yeah, this game's crazy, man.
Yeah, we were pretty off on Diego. I thought it would have been close, but Chiesa was just too big, too good on the ground. Just kind of was able to reverse anything that Diego got even close, and was just able to dominate on the ground. I don't know how good Chiesa is going to be, just because I know if somebody can stuff those takedowns and make it more of a standing affair, then he'll probably struggle a bit. But him on the mat is pretty damn good. So we'll see where it goes from here. And yeah, Diego, that sub defense is probably one of the best ever.
It's crazy, man.
You could just do a running parlay of not his opponent by sub, and you'd be good for a while.
Man. Jan,
Ugh.
What the fuck happened to Luke Rockhold?
He's done so much, man.
He's done.
I think 5 years ago, you really could have made the case he was the top 5 talent, potentially, in MMA. But chin, he just can't take a punch.
It's not even just his chin, man. Just the way
not that.
Obviously, his chin is brutal, but like, you look at a fight of his like 4 years ago, it looks like a completely different fighter. Like, he just doesn't have the same offense. His defense has always been shoddy, but his offense is nowhere near what it was when he was actually good. His takedowns, his top game, and his striking was so much smoother. I don't know what happened to this guy. I don't know if he just...
I think he's a little scared now. I think he knows his chin's bad, so he's kind of different. He's tentative a little bit.
That could be. I don't know. Like, he's just the cockiest prick there is, so maybe he just thinks he can slack off on training. I don't know. He's just not even close to the same fighter, and it's a shame because this guy had all the talent in the world, and he has flushed it along with his shitty chin.
He puts himself in so many bad spots now, man. If he, like, even in that fight, he didn't get Jan out there early and look good, you know.
He looked okay. You know? He didn't look great.
Yeah, he looked okay, but Jan's always tough to look, great against. But he was doing well, you know. And then, man, right at the end, how do you get caught with stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just putting yourself in bad spots when you're getting caught with big head kicks and shit by Jan Blachowicz. I mean, yeah, he's done. Like, Luke Rocco's done. Like, I wouldn't trust him against anybody at 205. Like, almost anybody.
Anybody
like,
with some power, doesn't even need power. Just anybody with some takedown defense, and he's fucked.
Yeah, he's just absolutely fucked, man. That like I was saying about Diego, it's crazy the shots he can take. I know it's at a lower weight class, but you know, guys at 170 pack some punch. But man, that dude, he's done. Like you said, you can watch, and for me, even outside of his offense, like Rocco didn't really put himself in those bad spots like that a few years ago. Maybe because his offensive output was so good, he actually could get guys down, and his top game was just insane. But man, just so many bad spots that fucking shit he got knocked out with. I mean, he was just wide open for it, man. It was easy to land that shit. But yeah, Rocco's done. That dude should he's making money, I guess. Yeah, he needs to stop fucking up your brain and shit, dude. It's over. Like,
Rick Martel.
This dude was literally last week talking about Jon Jones and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like Sean said, the cockiness, you need to get out but that cockiness, he's not going anywhere. That dude's gonna fight again. He's gonna get knocked out like that again. Watch, guarantee it.
Yeesh.
Yeah. Okay.
Nushan,
any thoughts, or you're
no?
Good?
I mean,
want to talk about the most exciting fight? Yes!
I jinxed the fuck out of this card. Out of this fight.
How fucking happy are you guys? And we're gonna say it. Lance Fishel, the forearm guru,
bared you in as down in back-to-back weeks.
Your little guy lost.
Oh, he didn't just lose.
He lose.
He got
murdered. Oh, he didn't just lose.
You can break it down for us. I'll let you start here.
That was just so nasty, and it's hilarious because on last week's podcast, I was like, I don't. The only way I can see Masvidal winning is like a flying knee when Askren goes to shoot, and I was just like, I don't see it happening, but I think that's kind of his only shot. If he doesn't land that, Askren's just gonna maul him on the ground, and all it took was 5 seconds, and oh my god, like everyone's face, all the fighters, the commentators, this is like a top 10 UFC moment possibly of all time. When it comes to like this was a big fight. I mean, this could have got either of these guys a title shot, and just insane. 5 seconds, flying knee, and then the absolute hammers. I'm sure he made old Hendo smile at those follow-up punches, because those were fucking hammers, and he got 2 of them in. And then Askren was down for a long ass time. Holy shit! And
props to Askren for saying that's his job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
props to that dude.
Askren's taking this as good as you can ask.
Anybody.
I mean, he talks shit, and he's not hiding. He's not pulling a Ronda. I mean, that's the fight game. He chooses to promote himself that way. He wants to talk shit a bit and get people to watch his fights. Well, you got to deal with the consequences, and I'm happy this happened to a guy like Masvidal. I've been a fan for a long time. And the guy's just a stone cold gangster, and he put on a highlight reel for a long time. That was a good one.
I will say that this result of any fighter I've seen in, I don't know, several months, that in terms of just stock rising, in terms of people's interest and value, it's the most I've seen in a long time in terms of just one fight and one result. There was a lot of people that I talked to. Everything that he did here, the obviously the quick finish, the conversation after, the post-fight interview,
all this stuff, just the look, the swagger. There's something there, isn't there? I mean, it's a late move, but people like this guy. He's basically the new Diaz.
Yep.
My buddy that literally never watches MMA.
Man. Let's get that.
He texts me the next day.
Who the fuck is this guy?
About the Masvidal knee. Like he never watches this shit. And was like, dude, I know you watched that knockout, and I was like, yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, my first thing, like, all these fuckers like mad at Masvidal for the celebrating and the doing the fucking stiff body and shit. Like, even Askren said it. This is the game this is the fucking fight game, man. Like, what the fuck are y'all expect, man? These dudes are locked in a case. This is fucking fist fighting, dude. Like, even Askren said it. This is the game they signed up for. He talks all the shit in the world. I have a little bit more respect for Ben Askren than I did coming into this fight, just because he's taking the loss, man. There's some sore losers in this sport, and I get it. It's fighting. Your ego's going to be hurt. But him saying that's his job, those follow-up shots was just, man, this KO to me, like Sean said, top 10 moment in UFC history. To me, this KO was maybe like 2 to me outside of the Hendo Bisbee KO. You got to put it in context, man. It's the fastest knockout in fucking UFC history. That's gotta fucking matter. Then everything surrounding this fight. Jay talked about how a guy's stock rising off one fight. Well, I'd even say like 2 fights. From him knocking out till the backstage shit with Edwards to this knockout, this guy's like just shooting up, man. He's got. Here's
the thing. Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt, but like this guy, like remember how his origins to this sport. He was a part of the fucking Kimbo nonsense in the early.
No, it wasn't nonsense.
He's been around forever. This guy likes fighting. It's not for money. It's not for sport. He literally likes to fight. There are not that many guys in this, we'll call it generation, iteration maybe, of MMA that generally just like to fight people. Because this guy does. Him, Cerrone, the Diaz boys. I mean, who else? Who else fits on that list?
They're from a different generation, though. Actually,
they're a different cloth, though.
Yeah, even though they're still fairly young, Diaz and Masvidal,
Jeremy
those guys.
Stevens, I would probably put in that conversation.
Yeah,
yeah.
Our dude on Twitter that posts a lot of
maybe Poirier, but even he's a little different. Tony Ferguson. These guys are in their 30s though. Like, what are the 20-somethings that just want to fight and want to brawl?
Masvidal's a different cat, man. He's about as real as it gets. I mean, he's that I'll fight you in the parking lot, dude. Yeah, man. Since Bodog and shit, he was on some of those crazy Bodog cards, man. The Kimbo sliced backyard brawls when it was fighting for a couple $100, man. Like, yeah, that dude's for real. I hope he gets a title shot. I hope he gets everything that's coming to him, man. Like you said, he's a rarity in this sport, and his stock couldn't be higher. Like I said, every day I get one of my friends that don't watch us texting me asking me about a knockout, and they did about this fight. Top was leading off Sports Center that night and shit. Yeah, just incredible, man.
New Sean.
Ed Ruth, baby. That was easy.
Well, that should have been in my.
I always liked him. New Sean, talk to me about who are some other guys outside of Masvidal that kind of fit this profile of fighter that I'm referring to.
There's not really that many in kind of that age
No, they don't have to be that age. They could be younger, but who are these guys?
Masvidal crossed like generational lines, kind of like Nick Diaz and shit. He was still part of that like pre
2.0 and 3.0.
Yeah, pre kind of tough, but then was so young then that he's now like in their 30s or whatever, and they're still like really good. There's not a lot of guys that Cerrone is that in that kind of generation. Jorge Masvidal. There's not a lot of guys, man, that still cross over like that.
Yeah, he's kind of one of a couple. Just awesome to see, especially kind of the way he always used to lose just close decisions. He would kind of just not have enough action and would just lose kind of shitty decisions. And it seems like in the last little bit he's finally taking it seriously, turned it around, and he's not fucking around. Yeah, that Till knockout came out of nowhere. We didn't really give him a chance against him. We thought Till would just kind of ground him out and be too big. Just flatlined him. And then this fight again. Not many people giving him much of a chance other than a crazy flying knee, and that's what he did. So them putting out the video though of him actually drilling that knee. Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
Over and over. Yeah. It wasn't like it was a fluke.
He planned on it. He's planned for months that he was going to come out and do this, and to land it as cleanly as they did. That's just amazing.
I want to say something too about Mike Brown down there, man. That dude has turned into
He's
an
a great coach.
ATT is unreal.
Yeah, you got guys like not just the fighters, but one thing like about Masvidal, I said earlier that he's still improving and getting better now. I mean, as much as I don't like Kobe Covington, that's the guy he's drilling with every day. He's drilling with Yoel fucking Romero every day. Like the talent that's down there, Dustin Poirier. I mean, they have a champ down there. Robbie Lawler's been down there. The talent that he's training with, man, is just insane. And Mike Brown needs to start getting like a little bit of respect, man, because that dude he's training some of these champs now. His hands are all over these game plans and stuff. That you could give a lot of credit to that knockout right there to Mike Brown. There is video of them literally training that knee for weeks. So that ATT is just crazy, man. They've been one of the best gyms in the entire world for a long, long time now. They're one of the ones that have stayed around. I mean, there's not, you could say Jackson's, but Jackson's is probably a little bit down.
Yep.
You know,
Yes.
You got guys leaving there and shit. I mean, AKA, outside of DC, they've gone down. So like your gyms that we remember from a decade ago, that like were the supreme gyms. It's different now, man. You got the, Tiger Schulman up east, up by Jay. There's gyms popping up. The Saralongo has gotten better in that time, and ATT is just.
Well, don't forget where Frankie Edgar trains down and with Grace. Yeah.
That's why like Saralongo is. They kind of
in Long Island. Yep.
They like switch a lot of fighters out, man, that go down to like Jersey and shit, I believe, or somewhere down there, where Eddie Alvarez would travel back and forth and. Yeah, they had Tiger Schulman right up there too. They got a lot of guys too now, man. ATT, the sustained excellence of that gym, it might be unmatched now. Outside of
it's definitely, I would say, it's the biggest.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Just the number of top fighters. It's not even close. I don't think
they got a shit. Yeah, they got a shit ton of good guys.
Remember when Novo Unao had everybody?
Huh?
Remember when Novo Unao had everybody?
All the great Brazilians,
Now they're in at ATT. It's crazy. Speaking of,
Aldo's training there.
Wow, no, but like all the other most Brazilians.
Aldo does go over to Blockhouse and shit now, I think, though, doesn't he? Doesn't a lot of them train in California now?
There's a Brazilian connection there for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that's old boy's Cordero's gym, and it's Flores runs all his fighters out of there and shit. So that's definitely a major connection now. But yeah, a lot of those Brazilians train out of California now. They all got up here that American money and shit. Yeah, they're like,
why not live in California
instead of getting robbed in Brazil?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Oh yeah,
2 plus 2 equals 4.
Dantes, when Dantes had fucking double championship, man, he was still living down there in the favela and shit.
What is wrong with exactly?
What is wrong with you cats, man?
Yeah, get out as fast as you can. Knowing from some level of experience, that's a very smart thing to do. Co-main event. I feel like the champion in this division is channeling the champion who won on the main event. Likes to beat fighters at their own game. Amanda Nunes, TKO KO, head kick knockout of Holly Holm. Amanda Nunes is starting to build a resume that is quickly
Not just
becoming
women's, though.
unparalleled in women's MMA. At the very least. Wes, thoughts here on Amanda Nunes and her legacy?
Yeah, I mean, it's done. Women's gold is decided. That's been decided. Boy, when she tooled Cyborg, that's it. I mean, there is no more discussion there. She's building a resume now of being like considered one of the greatest fighters ever.
Well,
I mean, she's got to be. I mean, I'm not
length of time. Not length of time.
I'm not gonna put her, try to compare to men's anyway. I think that's just a comparison. It's hard to even compare guys as greatest of all time. I'm sure it's not gonna. But I mean, what she's done in this sport on that side is, it's very impressive. I mean, I saw people actually saying that Holly's the type of fight to give her trouble and all that. So I said, nope, like straight up.
It could have. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but it obviously didn't happen.
Well, I mean, but the people that argued for Nunes, like me saying it wasn't going to happen, is Nunes is so great at cutting off the cage and closing fighters down. And I mean, that's pretty much what she did for as long as it took. And then, yeah, that head kick was just, like you said, a guy we'll talk about next, beating fighters at their own game, man. She's great. I don't know. I think they're going to do the Cyborg rematch.
Maybe. I'm fine with that.
I guess I still.
It'll be fun, man. You'll enjoy it.
I still give Cyborg a chance. I mean, I don't think we still haven't seen Amanda literally straight up caught with a couple good ones and put in a spot like that in a long, long time, maybe ever. And I want to see if that
definitely saw it though. Well, when she fought Kat Zingano.
That was a long time ago. That was 5 years ago.
That's not a long time ago. It was a while ago.
But I mean,
she got tired. That's the only reason she lost there. She was beating Kat until the third round. She got tired.
Yeah, and I'm not thinking that's going to be the. I mean, more of early and getting in a bad spot. The Cyborg is a fighter that can still definitely
clip you.
Yeah, exactly, and it's still intriguing to me. The first fight ended sorry. I mean, she absolutely won. I mean, she stopped Cyborg, but we know that could go very, very differently. It's a possibility. So. That's about the only fight that I'm really interested in. And, I mean, she beat Cyborg twice convincingly and shit. I mean, I still don't think there's an argument now that she's definitely the greatest women's fighter of all time. And, man, the money train that we've been on, betting Amanda Nunes since Nashville against Mom Quit Sarah McMahon, that started one hell of a run, man. She's been a dog in so many fights. Pretty crazy, actually. But, yeah, she's great, man. And, yeah, I'm intrigued by a second Cyborg fight. I think they're going to make it happen.
Sean, thoughts on the champion?
Yeah, I underestimated her a little bit. I thought Holm would give her a little more of a challenge or at least extend the fight a bit more. But, of course, she had to ruin my fight starts round 2 parlay that I had and just absolutely knock out Holly Holm. Yeah, it seems like she's just kind of so far ahead of everybody right now. I really think the Cyborg fight's good. I think the only other fighter that can really give her a close fight is Shevchenko. And I don't know, it seems like she's kind of changed. She's got a lot better since those Shevchenko fights. So I don't know if it would be the same sort of fight. I know she always worries about her cardio in those fights, so it might be another close one. But I really think Shevchenko and Cyborg are really all that's left. Maybe there's going to be a fighter on this card that could, the next one that's upcoming, that could make a statement and do something. But I don't know. Right now, she looks just so far ahead of everybody in the striking game. It's kind of crazy.
Her power is just something that there's only a couple.
Power, technique. I mean, she timed that.
Yeah.
She timed that for what Holly always does. She kind of does that half step and drops her hand and does that little like flick kick and just timed it and crushed her. That's
the slight difference between her and Cyborg. I think they both hit hard zones. It's just Nunez is a tiny bit more technical, man.
Yep.
But there's only two women that's been around that you see power like it, and I hope we get to see them fight again. Should be fun.
Okay. Main event.
Go time.
Jonathan Dwight Jones somehow didn't get one of three judges scored this fight for Thiago Santos?
Go away.
He couldn't even fucking walk.
Go away. Man.
The champion maintains his belt. He's never been beaten. Wes, what happened here? Why did this fight go the way it did? Why is there a controversy?
Well, first off, if you scored this fight for Thiago Santos, like seriously, man, fuck off. Like really, like you can see the hate that Jon Jones gets. It's pretty incredible, and we see it over and over, and not just with Jones. I'm not going to single that out. It's with a lot of champs and a lot of the great fighters that win a lot of their fights. Excuse me. If they're in close fights, if they're not like marking guys and they're minus 1,000 favorites and stuff, people just for some reason start looking for reasons to give the underdog around, man. I think we actually see it with judges too. I think judges sometimes give a fighter a third or fourth round to make the fifth decide the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like I think we see that in judging sometimes. I don't know how you gave Thiago Santos 2 of the last 4 rounds with him literally on a blown out knee, limping, backing up pretty much the entire time. I think they said he had it was under a minute of forward, him taking the other half of the cage on Jon Jones. It was like 38 seconds or something like that in the entire fight. Man, knee blown out just because he's throwing a couple leg kicks and stuff. Like, it's insane to me, man. The hate that the greatest fighter of all time gets because he is a piece of shit. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how you give Thiago Santos 2 of those last 4 rounds backing up and limping all over the fucking cage. I just can't understand it. We talked a little before the show about Jon Jones's his chin now, arguably the best chin that we've ever seen. But I even say that since the Gus fight and even said the DC fight, the first DC fight, he just doesn't even get hit really anymore. It's pretty incredible. The big shots that Santos landed on him were some really good leg kicks that kind of had Jon twisting a little bit and pulling his leg up. But that's winning a fight. That's just crazy to me, man. I will say it was a little lackluster performance from Jones. I kind of put a little bit on it. I think it's like we talked about Nunez that he could have took Santos down at any time, especially on a blown knee. Like he could have got him down anytime he wanted, rained down some elbows. That fight could have been over in the 3rd or 4th round if he wanted it over. Jon likes to beat guys at their own stuff.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it really is. It hasn't cost him yet. And I was talking to our boy Matty about it, kind of how it could have cost him against Anthony Smith. If Anthony Smith didn't take, if he took that DQ there, it could have cost him there. He could have got Anthony Smith out of there whenever he wanted. Like he could have took him down and got him out of there. He played around. He wanted to play with his food a little bit. He did it here. It almost cost him. It's like one of these times, these idiot judges, we see it over and over, man. It's going to end up costing him. I think if these guys fought again tomorrow, Jon finishes him inside of 3. He's done beating him standing up kickboxing. which I think was a bad fight because John's still the smartest fighter we've ever seen. He wasn't going to go in there and bum rush and try to knock him out and throw blows with Thiago Santos. That guy still hits like a fucking truck. I mean, he's still really fucking good. He wanted to beat him at his own game, but he was going to do it intelligently. They fought again tomorrow. John would take him down and would smash on him. We all know this. We don't need to see a rematch of this. That's why I think it was a little lackluster though. But yeah, I mean, we got to get the DC fight, man. I don't know what we're doing here. If John's got to move up, pay the man his money. He said after the fight, if the money's right, I'll move up and fight DC. I mean, that's the only fight I think we care about. There is some guys at 205 now though, some younger guys that are interesting, but guys like Johnny Walker, he's not ready for Jon Jones. I mean, that's just we gotta. It sucks that the division is as light as it is because John fighting 3 or 4 times a year is like cleaning it out again real quick. You know, he's already disposing of these guys, but he beats DC at heavyweight too. I don't know even why there's some people saying that's going to make a bit of difference, but that's the fight. That's the fight we got to see with John next.
Deshaun, anything else to add, or you want to move on?
No, I'll talk a bit. I mean, you guys talked about how little Jones gets hit. For head strikes in this fight, Santos was 9 for 92. Less than 10% and only landed 9 strikes.
And they was giving him rounds. They was giving him rounds
strikes.
for leg kicks. These clowns.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I scored it, I think, 3-2 for Jones. It probably should have been 4-1.
I was a little biased.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's just like Jones is like we talk about how smart of a fighter he is, and he is, but he's also very dumb because these last 2 fights, he could have got. He's very, very lucky because yes, the judging, but judges, poor judges. It's MMA. There's fucking terrible judges. So why are
one gave it to Santos?
Why are you?
One gave it to him.
You're putting that out in the universe to just burn you. Like he could have taken him down. I know he's like, oh well, I was worried about his power and stuff like that. It's like, come on, man, you're a better wrestler than that. You didn't even really grind on him on the fence. Like he should have been grinding on him, wearing him out on the fence, and then taking him down and smashing him. But instead, he goes 5 rounds and almost loses his belt. Like it's dicey, man. He can't be doing that shit. And these guys are getting better, and his output has kind of slowed down in these last 2 fights. I mean, he hit over, it was 65% he landed, but he only threw 90 strikes, so he only landed 59. Like, he's got to be more active. If he wants to fight this way, you still got to be a little more active because that's what judges want to see. And you start, and it's like you said, you got these big favorites, and if it's kind of a close round, I guess Santos is doing pretty good. I think he got that round. Yep. I mean, I don't know if that's in the judge's eyes. It's kind of seems like it is. So if he wants to fight this way, like I said, he's got to be more active because he was not throwing nearly enough. Santos does have big power, but this dude blew out his ACL, MCL, PCL, and tore his meniscus. Like
it was all done.
It was that is the clean sweep of what you can fuck your knee up, and to for that guy to last to the very end, and Jon Jones not to be able to put a stamp. Yeah, it's a badass for him, but Jon Jones should be able to take a guy out with a blown out knee, regardless of how much power it is. So that's frustrating for me as a guy, but no doubt he won this. We can move on. It would have been shitty if somehow they gave Santos the win because he's going to be out for a year at minimum with a blown out knee. So happy that did not happen for sure.
There was 2 there. I don't usually pay any kind of attention to media scores, but there was 2 people that scored this fight for Santos. I saw just dozens of people on Twitter that scored this fight for Santos. It's just
a heat of the moment thing, and it's a big favorite, a well known fighter that they were somewhat close rounds. I mean, the things like this can happen in boxing, but I mean, in boxing you got 12 rounds, you got 10 rounds to differentiate. It's a little bit tighter in MMA with only 5 rounds, so you can't just like, oh yeah, that was a close round, we'll give it to the challenger. Like, no, that's not how this works.
Yeah, it's that would have been one of the worst decisions. I mean,
Ever.
How
can you dethrone a champion who's never legitimately lost a fight in that kind of fight?
The other
guy landed nothing.
Yeah, I said that. I was like, I'm kind of old school that way with boxing. Like, you got to take that belt. Yeah, I mean, you got to. It can't be these close rounds. And I'm also of old school that if they close round like that, like you say, the dude advancing should always win those rounds. Unless you're countering very fucking good, the dude advancing should always win close rounds. And that was the case here, man. Like, straight up.
Jones was never hurt in the fight.
I mean, how many times did he have Santos? Like, he hurt Santos' knee. Like, Santos didn't come in there with a blown out knee. How many times did he have Santos literally almost to the mat, backing up to the cage after he kicked him in that knee and shit? Like, that's, like Sean said, it's still like the dumb part. He should have been right in on him, taking him down and smashing him. He could have done it multiple times. But still, how can you score rounds for a guy that's literally doing shit like that? Like, getting kicked in his blown out knee that Jones blew out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just ridiculous, man.
It's a farce. But here we are. I'm glad that they didn't screw it up entirely, and we can move on.
We're going to get Bones again. That's pretty crazy. We should get Bones again this year.
Hopefully it takes some time. I don't know if that's why he's...
Who's he going to fight? I just don't think he cared.
I don't know what it is, but maybe he needs to take some time off to get a bit more hunger, because that was a poor performance on a compared to what he's done. I mean, he looked unbelievable against Gustafsson, and then he's kind of laid 2 eggs. But
do we think he's a little stale at Jackson's? You know, I know,
or just stale with the competition.
Yeah, I mean a little both, maybe. Like, I think it's got Jones is at the point, and he's so great. So he's got to be geared up. We see that in boxing with boxing greats. You got to be geared up for guys. You know what I'm saying? When you get that good, like he was geared up for Gus. Look what happened. You know what I'm saying? He had to fight Anthony Smith. You know, he had to fight Thiago Santos. He knew he was going to beat those guys. I think if he feels a little fear, like he'll feel a little fear with DC. We see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
He has a rivalry with him, and it's personal.
It takes things like that to motivate guys at his level. Absolutely. Still, you can't be, like Sean said, you can't be getting into stuff like that, or you're going to lose your belt. It's going to happen.
You're right. Anyway, that's last week's card. Let's touch on this week's card.
Do we have to?
We're moving to Team Alpha Male country. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I feel at one point it might have been a good thing, but this time... We'll start with the prelims. We'll try to run through these closely. I'm not even going to give grades on these fights because this card should have been better than it is. But here we are. We're starting out in the bantamweight division with what should be a pretty decent bantamweight scrap between Benito Lopez and Vince Morales. Wes, your thoughts here?
Yeah, there's a lot of these I don't have too much on. This should be a fun fight. Should be some good stand-up action here. Both these guys like to throw. I think Benito Lopez could probably be a little bit busier in this fight, and maybe still a couple rounds of a fight should have some action. I think is going to be back and probably make it to the cards. So I'll probably put a small sprinkle on Benito Lopez at some plus money. There's a lot of small dogs on this card that I kind of like, but not huge, that I'll probably just sprinkle on, and Benito Lopez would be one of them.
Yeah, I don't really care about this fight. Morales gets hit a bit less than Lopez and hits a bit more than Lopez, so I think I'll pick him. And Lopez is at alpha male, who I think is pretty shitty at this point, so I'll pick Morales.
While I agree it hasn't been a good performance. It is a home card for them. They'll be supported. All their fighters will be supported. He's got a 3-inch reach advantage. He's facing a guy who really isn't. It's marginal to pick him at best. Their striking volume is very similar.
They're pretty much the same guys.
Yeah, they're very similar. So I'll take the hometown guy or the home, fighting for the home crowd. and to get him at even slightly plus money, I think is, advantageous. I would flip these lines candidly. So I'll take Benito Lopez to start the fight card off positively for Team Alpha Male. Now, second fight, we got something called Jonathan Martinez against. Is that a Chinese fighter, Wes? Pingwan Lee?
Pingwan Lu.
Are they trying to find a new China goat? Well, let's not get crazy. I mean, it's been going well, but let's not go too far.
I mean, I think he's a champ of
He's favored in this fight.
Yeah, I don't have a lot on this one either, man. But I usually I like to fade the guys from over there, and Jonathan Martinez is already beat up on one of his countrymen, I believe. So
he's got 2 UFC wins.
Yeah, I just think he's probably a tiny bit better in this spot, man. He's got some good length. And like I said, man, that most of these Chinese fighters are pretty shitty outside of the dongage. So, yeah, I'll probably sprinkle on Martinez. I haven't logged nothing in, but he'll be a pick and towel master at around plus 140.
I mean, you're talking about a California fighter fighting in California against a Chinese fighter. Anyway, new Sean.
Yeah, but the Chinese fighter is training at Alpha Male. That's
training in quotation.
So
yeah. I don't know. I'll pick Martinez. I don't care about these lower fights on this card. It's pretty.
I don't blame you.
They're not
Especially
great.
this one.
They're not great.
Hopefully, violence.
Especially this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to take Martinez too. I think you have to here. Like, I don't know how you can trust a Chinese fighter in Sacramento. It's just that I don't care if he's been training here at all or not. Let's see him beat a legitimate fighter first before we crown this Chinese fighter anything. That's generally how it is. Now we got a women's strawweight bout, former Invicta champion Livia Renata Souza taking on something called Brianna Van Buren. No relation to the other Van Buren that fought in Bellator and UFC.
Oh, that's a shame.
It would be cool, right?
Close cousin of the Van Buren boys, though, from New York City.
Hey now. Wes, thoughts?
Yeah, I haven't seen much of this Van Buren chick because
just say old girl because that's your thought.
I don't yeah, old girl. I don't closely watch Invicta cards. I usually just have it.
Thank God.
I might have it on a third screen over to the side on Fight Pass, but yeah, I don't really get the line here, I guess. I mean, Sousa's has had a couple, decent fights in the UFC. She's got some wins. So, yeah, I think she could make us kind of a dirty, kind of tough fight. I don't know if I could bet this, man, but I'm gonna probably be drinking White Russian. So, yeah, I'll probably put a little money on Sousa. She'll be a pick and top master by decision. It's definitely going to the cards.
Sean?
Van Buren beat 3 chicks in one night. That's pretty crazy. I mean, the first 2 were only one.
Oh, she was in that that tournament, huh?
The tournament where it was like 1 round fights for the first.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, she did beat 2 ex-UFC fighters, and Juliana Lima and Kaylin Curran, but we kind of know how good those chicks are. But I have no clue who. I mean, I've seen Sousa fight, but she was pretty shitty. I mean, both these chicks look pretty shitty. Flip a coin. I think it'll land on Van Buren.
Okay, I'm going to take Sousa. I've seen her. Just way more experienced in the UFC. Knows how to win fights.
She's not 4'11".
And she's not 4'11". I don't know how this other girl's favored. This is a surprise to me. One of the better fights in the card. Next up, Darren Elkins against Ryan Hall. Could Ryan Hall's stunning upward trend continue, or
is reality going to set in? Wes.
Man, I tell you what, if this motherfucker gets me again,
Oh God, that'll be something.
then he's gonna get me again because I'll forever fade this motherfucker. I cannot stand this fucking butt scooting cocksucker. He's got fucking.
Bet it again, Wes. Bet it again.
He's got a wool sweater on his chest, and my man Darren Elkins has got the fucking damage tattooed across his chest. Who fuck you think I'm gonna better? Yeah, man, it's close though, man. I think if Elkins can keep him off a leg, man. Elkins has got some pretty good defensive jiu-jitsu, man. He's been in there in some tough spots with some tough guys. Man, Ryan Hall still, I got to give it to him, man. He's still dangerous. But just look at the guys that I mean, he's sub BJ. I mean, that dude's fighting bouncers, tore up drunk in parking lots now. And Gray Maynard, he doesn't even have applesauce for a fucking brain. That shit is just like liquid at this point. So, yeah, I'm gonna take some Elkins here, man. If Hall gets me again with some fucking crazy ankle lock, then he gets me. But yeah, I'll take some Elkins at around minus 115 or so.
Nushan, do you agree with Wes's assessment of this fight?
It's so hard to know with a guy that's just kind of so one-dimensional, but is so unbelievable at that dimension.
Yep.
Elkins likes to grapple, and I think if at any moment that he's on the ground, that's going to be a very, very scary thing. If he can kind of stuff the takedowns and just get away from Hall's weird, butt scoots and sweeps and stuff like that, I think he'll do all right. I just don't know if I can trust him to do that. I think it's a close fight. If you're going to look at something, look at Hall by submission. It's come a lot down since it opened. It's +1, I think, 30 or something like that at Dimes. It's a bit higher at some other books. I don't know. I'll pick Hall to do something weird. Everybody hates what he does, so I feel like he's just going to continue to do that.
I disagree. I think it's going to be if Ryan Hall's going to lose this bout. Darren Elkins doesn't need to go to the ground. He can be way more active on the feet because anybody's way more active on the feet than Ryan Hall. Elkins just keeps standing, knows that there's no reason to be in danger mode in this fight, and he gets the victory. So that'll be it. I'll take Darren Elkins to get the victory. Former women's flyweight champion Nico Montano moving up to women's bantamweight to take it on 30-month absence fighter Juliana Pena. Wes, this is a hot mess. Who do you got this one?
Man, I think, Montano, and probably rightfully so, just she got kind of a bad rap, just kind of the whole situation that she got put in. But she's not a horrible fighter here, man. And Juliana being out for, over 2 years, dude, I don't know how you can trust her in this spot. She's probably the little bit better of a fighter, but man, that's a really long layoff against somebody that I think is just about on her level. So yeah, I mean, I think if you're gonna play this fight, it's definitely dog or pass spot, and Montano around +170. But I don't think I can bet it. But Montano would definitely be the pick for me in Top Master.
Wes, or Nushan rather.
Montano's still the same girl that went to a 5-round, somewhat close decision against Roxanne Martifari, is she not? She is.
Martifari's beating chicks now, though.
That don't matter. She has got a lot better, but she is still who she is.
You're still saying she's terrible.
Yeah. If Pena gets you on the ground, you are going to eat some punches. So I don't know. It's definitely a stay away fight. You got the mom quit. You got the other, like, both these chicks haven't fought since 2017. It's a bit of a mess. I'm going to stay away, but I think Juliana Pena is the much more skilled fighter. I just don't know if it'll matter here, but I'll pick her.
Okay. I'm going to take... I mean, this is really close. If this were even odds, I would go with Pena, but Montano getting a little bit of love here and getting decent dog odds. I'm going to go with Montano just by being more active. I feel these two fighters are similar in their approach. I'm interested to ultimately see how this plays out, but in terms of getting some extra dog incentive, I'll take Nico Montano. One of the most competitive fights from a line perspective, we have Team Alpha Male's Andre Fili taking on Brazilian Shimon Rice. Wes, thoughts on this featherweight bout?
Yeah, this is one better on the card. I've gone back and forth on this one, man. I think it's a really close fight. I think Shimon is probably a little bit more technical fighter and stuff, but Fili does have that long ass reach, man. He uses it well. He's going to try to make this fight dirty and get crazy. If Moraes can, I don't know. I think if he can just kind of keep it a little settled down and kind of stay into a more of a rhythm, which I don't know if Fili's going to let that happen. I think he could take some rounds here. Man, it's just really close, man. I'm probably gonna pick Moraes here by decision. I don't know if I'm gonna bet it, man. I kind of wanted him at a little bit more of the plus money. He never really got there. I know it's gotten a little better, but man, it's a close fight. I think this one I've gone back and forth on. Like I said, I lean Moraes by decision right now, and Fili's also got the Team Alpha Male thing going on, and we know how terrible they are. So, Moraes, hard for me to put any money on him.
Okay, Nushan, thoughts on this competitively lined bout?
Yeah, I think the odds are probably where it should be. I think Moraes is pretty decent. I know he lost his last fight. That was Sadiq Youssef just doing a lot more grinding than I expected in that fight. I think I bet Moraes in that fight just to get a knockout there. But I think this is just going to be a strictly striking fight. And then we'll see if Fili's able to kind of use that reach and length and be able to touch up Moraes, or if Moraes is going to be able to get inside. For some reason, I always have a soft spot for Shimon Moraes.
I do too. I always bet him.
He's usually in fun fights, and I think
he's a dog usually too.
Yeah, and he's usually a dog, and he just kind of he's what you want in a dog. Just kind of goes all out and usually gives a good effort. So I'll side with him. No bet here. I think it's close as the odds say.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Andre Fili again. I know that Nushan doesn't believe in alpha male on this card, but I'm going to go the other way and say I think this is going to be a very close fight, mainly on the feet. I think the grappling is going to cancel each other out, and it's just going to be a striking contest, and who's going to be more aggressive than the rest, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm going to say Andre Fili edges it out. I don't care about the next fight. I don't know if either of you guys want to talk about Mike Rodriguez versus John Allen. I personally do.
Allen sucks. Rodriguez should win. You don't lay -400 on Mike Rodriguez.
How can you?
There it is.
All right. Nushan, you got nothing?
Nope.
All right. Main card time. We got 5 fights. Should be fairly interesting, except for the main event. We got this is a good matchup. Brazilian Cesar Ferreira taking on Italian Marvin Vittori, and basically middle division clash. Thoughts, Wes?
Yeah, this is an interesting fight. I was a little bit surprised at the line, seeing as Ferreira has a pretty decent name in the sport. Kind of how I see this fight going. I liked Cesar Ferreira last time out against Heinisch, and man, I thought he was doing really, really well in that fight, but props to Heinisch that he man, he kept coming forward and he made it an ugly fight, a grinding fight for just gas, man. And he definitely probably lost the last couple of rounds. But in this spot, I don't know if Vettori can put that kind of pace on Ferrer and make him work like that. And Vettori is not in Heinisch on the mat. So I mean, if this gets to some grappling exchanges, I think Vettori is in a whole lot more trouble than Heinisch was in that first round. So I kind of like Cesar Ferrer here. I'm not sure if he ends up getting a sub on Vettori, but I think he could get a couple rounds here for sure. Because I don't think he's gonna gas like he did last time out. I don't think Vettori can put him in that kind of high pace fight. So yeah, I lean for her here, and at plus 140, I'll be taking another little shot on another dog.
New Sean.
Pretty crazy that Vittori's last fight was a split decision loss to Adesanya, and just how different those career paths have been. Obviously, Adesanya is fighting for the belt soon, and Vettori got USADa'd in all that bullshit. Yeah, this seems like a decent style matchup for Mutanch. Vettori, just a grappler, but I just don't think he's of the status that Mutanch is. I know Mutanch hasn't been put out in a while, but you do always kind of have to worry about that chin. It will show up at some point.
Back in the day, yeah, that was...
it took a lot of damage in that little span there, but it's been good enough for him lately. He hasn't really been put out, so obviously being back at 185 and whatever else he's doing to get that chin back intact is working for him. So I think it'll be a pretty close fight, but I mean it's not a bad play on Mutanch at the plus money at plus 140. I think he's a decent side. I haven't played it yet, but I'm gonna look more into it.
Yeah, certainly Vettori lands more, but in terms of the grappling, I mean, Ferreira secures almost 3 takedowns every 15 minutes, one around, and does so with a 59% clip. Vettori's takedown defense is only 73%. I mean, that's a pretty significant difference. We see Ferreira's only lost to really kind of like top-level competition or top 15 guys like a Heinisch, lost to Theodoro, for example. He even has a win over Jack Hermanson, Carl Roberson, for example. I mean, those are wins that Vettori wishes he had on his resume. Ferreira definitely more dynamic, offers more. He can do things from a multifaceted standpoint, while Vettori kind of slow and plodding. And while he's tough to finish, he just doesn't offer anything dynamic from an offensive perspective. So I'm going to take Ferreira here as a plus dog, and that is our consensus bet of the week. Cesar Ferreira looks like plus 140, plus 145. New Sean, what are the odds currently?
Plus 143
plus 140. Yeah, plus 140, plus 143 at a couple spots.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So we'll take the dog odds, and that'll be our lone consensus bet of the week. 4 fights left. We got Carl Roberson taking on something called Wellington Turman. That can't be a real name, Wes.
Especially for a Brazilian. Like,
we're back to the Wellington thing?
Is this Family Guy or some shit? Like, what am I doing here?
This is Turman.
Wellington Turman.
Wellington, I've heard. Turman, not so much.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, Roberson should win this fight, but man, this Brazilian's got a few subs. Man, I've seen some highlights. I haven't seen any full fights of him. Man, Roberson likes getting taken down, dude. Like a fucking lot. I mean, he goes right to his back, man. So, This could get sketchy if you're laying 2-1 on Roberson. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, New Sean.
Yeah, I mean Turman by sub is like plus 400.
Turman.
I mean, seriously, like if you was looking for something on this fight,
that might not be a bad dart. We saw what Glover did. Obviously, Glover's a good fighter to be able to do that. Matanch was able to do it a couple fights ago against Roberson. This Turman guy he's got a shit ton of fights. He's only 22 and he has 17 fights.
Wow.
He also has another 4 amateur fights in there. Like he's getting that Brazilian, that old school Brazilian fight record there.
Build him up, baby.
Yeah, fighting every weekend and getting the stats all bumped up. But I haven't really watched any tape on him, but I might throw a dart on him by sub at plus 400 just because, as Wes said, Roberson does love to get taken down, and he seems to get subs, so it could happen.
Yeah, that's dangerous, but Roberson's hands are so good.
True.
I'll take Roberson by knockout. Yeah. I think that's the play here in the US. Heavy hands, dynamic, taking on a guy who's not a striker, hasn't fought UFC caliber competition. I'll take Roberson. Three pretty good fights down the card. We start with a featherweight matchup between alpha males Josh Emmett and a guy that I used to like, or I should say, he's my guy, right? Bosnian Mirsad Bektic. Wes, thoughts on this top 15 featherweight bout?
Good fight. Yeah, I think Bektic still should be. I don't know if he's going to be as good as we all thought he was, but I think he's still going to be really good. I mean, the Elkins knockout was crazy, but I mean that was when Elkins was just on his just crazy run and shit. I don't know, man. I think this line's a little off though, man. I don't get what I guess the Michael Johnson knockout was nice, man, but do people forget how? I mean, he was getting tooled by fucking Michael Johnson in that fight up until the KO. I mean, it wasn't even close. Getting slicked by Jeremy Stevens. I mean, Emmett's a decent wrestler, but he's turned into one of those wrestlers that more like to kickbox now. And I think Bektic could out wrestle him here. You're gonna be worried a little bit if this gets into the third round and it's a grinding, grappling fight like Bektic can make it. But man, at minus 140, minus 145 here on a guy that I still think is pretty damn good, man. I'm just not as high on Emmett as a lot of guys. I mean, he's a decent fighter, but I think people were overlooking how badly he was getting beat by Michael Johnson until he knocked him out. So, yeah, I like Bektic in this spot, man. I'm gonna be laying the juice on him. It's a spot I think his card's kind of light for good spots, and this is one I kind of like quite a bit. So, yeah, Bektic for me. I think this goes to a decision. Bektic just being the kind of bigger guy, kind of controlling the grappling exchanges, and I think he can get a decision here. You probably will be a little puckered in the third round, but I think he gets it done.
All right, new Sean.
Yeah, this number's low. I put 2 units on Bektic at minus 145. For how much Emmett is he is a wrestler, but he's been taken down by guys that are good wrestlers. I mean, he got taken down by Des Green. He got taken down 3 times by Scott Holtzman. I think Bektic.
Forgot about Holtzman.
I think Bektic is a much better wrestler than both those guys. So I think he's going to be able to take him down and put some damage on that face, some ground and pound. And we haven't really seen that Johnson fight. He was obviously losing. He was going to lose a pretty straightforward decision till he pulled a rabbit out of a hat and knocked out Johnson. But Johnson wasn't able to hit him that hard. I think we're going to find out how much that face actually, the damage that Jeremy Stevens did to Josh Emmett's face. I think we're going to see how he actually feels about it in this fight, and when that ground and pound, those elbows come raining down. You do have to worry about Bektik's chin. I mean, it is what it is. You're just gonna have to worry about it for kind of the rest of his career. But I think he'll be able to get Emmett down to the ground, and then it's a much less worrisome. So at minus 145, Bektik's still all right in the stand up. I still think he can compete, and I think he's gonna have a decent sized edge on the ground. So I'll take him at minus 145.
That line should be another $1.
It definitely should be at least 2 or maybe 250. Yeah.
Yep.
Those are all good points.
Jay's not.
We'll see what.
You're not
I don't
sold.
On his own dude. On his own dude.
I don't know. I mean, he's my guy, but I don't know. I really don't know.
You're underselling
I
him,
don't
dude.
I don't love his chin. I mean, at one point I thought he could be a champion in this division. I thought he could be Alex Volkanovski, but he doesn't.
Emmett was knocked out
He's
worse.
not.
right?
He's not. He's not Volkanovski. So, I mean, Emmett could knock him out. I wouldn't be surprised if Emmett knocked out Bektic. Bektic kind of falters and he kind of falls apart. I really think that's a possibility here. I'm gonna pick Emmett. How about that?
Oh my goodness! Thanks. That's
Let's
okay,
move
Jay.
on.
I'm totally
Right.
cool with that. You can
Uriah
have it, Jay.
Faber, the return of Uriah Faber, and Ricky Simone, co-main event. The return of Faber. Wes, make it quick.
Jay would rather bet Faber than his boy Bektic. Ain't that crazy?
Oh, it's a wild world.
Yeah, dude. I don't know what Faber's doing. That dude's got all the money he needs. I guess because they came back to Sacramento, he feels he needs to fight. Ricky Simone is good. I mean, his last 3 fights are legit wins. Dashishvili, Montel Jackson, who is really, really good, and Hani Yahya. I mean, all 3 of those guys are fucking way beyond Uriah Faber at this point. Ricky Simone might get a finish here. Yeah, he might finish Uriah Faber. This isn't going to be close.
Okay.
I'm a little less sold on the finish. I kind of hope not because I took Simone by decision for 2 units at minus 141. I think that number's pretty low. Faber's a tough dude. Simone, I mean, he gets a shit ton of takedowns. I think that's going to be a bit tougher in this fight against Faber. But when a guy just steps away for 3 years and then just comes back just cause against a really unknown guy, like what is he? He can't really be into this fight that much. So anytime I can fade a guy coming out of retirement and in not really it's not a big fight for Faber. It's just a fight. It is in his hometown, fair enough, but I don't know, man. It's not a great look. So I'll take Simone. Hopefully he doesn't put too much of a beating on Faber.
Yeah, this is tough because I mean, Ricky Simone's probably the favorite given the length of time off, but the price is really steep to bet him, like minus 340, minus 350. I mean, that's a pretty high price. Because Faber is going to definitely be valued by that home crowd. I mean, Simone's he doesn't really have an X factor to win this bout. So it's really just kind of outworking Faber to get the win. Can that and probably does, but I wouldn't bet it at this price. If anything, I'm going to be looking for Faber at some sort of plus money, maybe even after round 1. I'm going to not bet this pre-fight, but I'm going to take a look after round 1 if I see something positive from Faber here. I think it'll be worth a bet at that point. Main event. This doesn't really feel like a main event, but here we are. We got former women's featherweight champion. Is that right? Jermaine Duraname?
Yep.
I forgot. Against Aspen Ladd.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
We've said it, I think, a lot over the past couple of years, but this is one of the worst main events in a long.
It's not a good main event. It's not a bad fight, but it's not a good main event.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, man. Yeah, I wasn't really going to touch this fight.
What do you mean you weren't going to? Are you going to now?
He already
did. I was
Mr. Colvin.
I was thinking about it. I was going to watch the line a little bit more, but I was probably going to stay away. I think this is a coin flip fight, but I don't put a whole lot, as much as some people into weigh-ins. Like I really don't. I try not to. But man, Ladd looked as bad as I've ever seen anybody look on a scale. I mean, it was kind of tough to watch. I even saw some people saying that they didn't know if they would clear the fight after seeing stuff like that. She was shaking so bad it almost looked like convulsions to me, man. Not saying that she's not going to be okay to fight, but I just have a hard time seeing how in a fight I think is going to be fairly close, being totally 100%, getting plus 150 on Duranda May, in a fight that I thought was going to be kind of close, but I just really didn't want much to do with. I had to take a shot at that price, man. Duranda May can absolutely pull the Holly Holm strategy here, keep it on the outside, pick and pop for however long this fight goes, and win a decision here. I can absolutely see that, man. So I took a small shot. I still think it's a coin flip fight, but from what I saw today, and plus 150, I had to take that shot.
Sean.
Yeah, kind of same thoughts. Ladd, like if Ladd gets Duranda May down, it's gonna get scary. Aspen Ladd has some vicious ground and pound for a 135 chick.
She's tough to take down.
Duranda May is tough to take down. I think she's a lot better recently. She got taken down a lot earlier in her career. You kind of hope that stays, and hopefully she's continually to work on that, because I think that is Aspen Ladd's way to win. If it's on the feet, there's a big advantage for Duranda May. Ladd has big power, but just the striking difference is kind of crazy. I as well took GDR at plus 162 for a unit. The bigger play that I'm on is the fight to go to decision. I put 2 units on that. I like it a little bit less now that I saw what Ladd was like at the weigh-ins. I'm a little bit worried if it goes Duranda May's way that she's going to gas out and Duranda May might be able to finish her in the middle rounds. But Duranda May's tough. Ladd's pretty tough too. I think it could go to decision, so I put some money on it, and I hope Duranda May can just pick and pop and keep it outside and not get taken down, because that's the way for her to win.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because it all comes down to capability to defend the takedown. Can you believe that Ladd has secured 80% of her takedown attempts in the UFC?
She's a beast.
I know she's only had 3 fights, but we'll say she's way younger, like 11 fucking years younger. She's shorter. Obviously, isn't the same quality of a striker. You could argue she's more active than Duranda on the feet, but I think this all comes down to, can she get Duranda May down? I think she will be able to. I think she's going to. Way younger. I think there's an opportunity. I think Ladd is actually underrated. 5-round fight too. 5-round fight.
I think she's got to do it early.
I think Ladd gets the W, but I don't have confidence in this bout. I think this is interesting from a stylistic standpoint. I wish it wasn't in the main event, but here we are. But I'll take Ladd to surprise people and get the win.
Get him, Carvalho. Ooh, good fight going on, Bellator.
There's no such thing.
There's a lot of MMA this week. We had the Dana White Contender Series Tuesday, PFL Thursday, Bellator tonight.
PFL was awesome, boy.
And then UFC tomorrow. It's kind of crazy.
PFL was fun, man. There was over plus 400 dogs that went on that card.
And we got 2 great tennis matchups over the weekend.
Woo, yeah.
We got Halep and Serena on Saturday, and Federer and Novak on Sunday. Wes, does it really get better than that? No, especially when a parlay of Joker and Serena plays you about plus 145, because it's going to happen. Joker's definitely winning. I hate to say it, but I love it. You know I love it.
Joker's definitely winning. I'm telling you, minus 180 is a little short.
We got a
telling
Novak
you.
household in these parts.
I love Fed, man, but Joker's just a different animal right now, especially on grass. I just
Do you
can't
think
see.
he's playing that well, even losing a set today?
Yeah, he looks, man. You know, he's tough.
He's the best player ever, man. Let's be
He
honest.
he's tough to play against, man.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
and he can play forever.
yeah. Joker's gonna be a problem for Fed, sadly, and I think Serena takes my girl out, my girl Simona. I think
love Simona, but
I do too, man.
I
That's
would
my
love
favorite.
to see it happen.
Yep, gonna be a good weekend, man.
I actually thought Risk had her.
Yeah.
Risk is playing
Serena's
shocking
been
well.
she's
She
been
beat
good.
Barty Party, which I
Yeah.
thought she was going to win that tournament, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, that does. We got a little tennis in. We got some MMA,
Some racing.
and
Get on.
we're back next week. Who are we kidding here? San Antonio, Texas.
RDA
Shawn Michaels
versus
on down.
Edwards.
What else is going on?
Ooh.
And
The return.
Oh,
The return
guys,
of Greg
that
Hardy.
is a hell of a main card. Oh, that is a main card of main cards. Okay.
Hopefully
Yeah, that's pretty-
Hooker just fucking flatlines Vic again. That would be good.
It's pretty. That's a fun one.
Card. We got Alex Hernandez taking on Francisco Trinaldo.
Grandpa.
Arlovsky and Rothwell. The
That might
return
be
of Greg Hardy. How is
Yep.
the Linnick and Harris co-main event and Hardy at come on? What are we doing here?
We're gonna watch Hardy K. We're gonna watch Hardy KO fucking Juan Adams, and then people still be like, "Well, I don't know. He's just not fought anybody."
Co-main event. If you had to pick one of these fights to co-main, which fight do you pick?
It's obviously the Hardy Adams.
Yeah. They're
Would
fucking.
you not do Vic and Hooker as a co-main event?
Nah, both coming off losses. Who gives a fuck?
That should be the third. That should be third from the top, though.
Yeah.
What about Hernandez and Trinaldo? That's a lot of fun too.
That'll be fun, but Hernandez, they're both coming off losses as well.
Hardy is Hardy, and he's the biggest name on the card.
Yep.
Yeah, he is.
And he hasn't legitimately lost a fight.
I mean, I'm telling you, he's gonna KO Juan Adams, and you're gonna have fucking the Twitter mob being like, "Oh, he still hasn't beat anybody." I don't know why they put
love when Hardy wins.
It's great. Usually because it's him just obliterating somebody, and then everybody's fucking mad. Same with Jon Jones. I love watching that. I love watching everybody like, "Oh, he lost." I'm telling you, there was people in my mentions. They were like, he lost 3 rounds. I just love it. The hate's fucking great.
That's fucking right. Anyway, that does it for this week's show. We always enjoy talking to you guys and just sharing our thoughts on the sport. Always feel free to tweet the Twitter handle at the mma-analysis if there's anything you want us to touch on, or just share some love. If you want to talk about if you want to get into the hog analysis, we're always free to do that.
We'll try to get the next week's episode up a little bit earlier than Friday night.
Yeah, it's just the way it worked out this week.
Yeah.
But next week will be a little earlier, and we'll get it on that. And to all, enjoy the fights, or at least try to enjoy this week's fights.